Hey there, boils and ghouls! Let's all take a moment to acknowledge the reason why this movie was made. Strippers! Everyone knows that when you're tying the knot, it's an American tradition to test the strength of your relationship. And considering that naked people are the bread and butter of horror movies, that's a tradition that, quite frankly, should be exploited more often. If you try to search up /Lorette Party, the only information that you'll find is that it's inspired by 80s horror movies and that it was apparently released in 2020. Don't try finding an exact month or even day that it was released though, because it was delayed due to COVID and finally released in this, our year of 2021. According to their Facebook page anyway, which celebrates the new year with this post. This is for my Slash fam. Middle fingers up to all of the challenges that we faced and conquered this year. We didn't let 2020 or anyone else, COVID, depression, haters, stop us. This film was put on hold for a long time during the beginning of the pandemic, but we finished it. Thanks to all of your supporting us the whole time. I'm so proud of our people surviving and thriving in the face of so much adversity. Much love to all of our supporters and friends. We made it once again. On to the next year, on to the release. Happy New Year's. You know, that post is oddly relatable. I hate COVID. I'm extremely depressed all the time. And they may all be 10-year-old boys who don't know how to respond to seeing cleavage for the first time, but if my time on the internet has taught me anything, I think I might have haters. And yet, every New Year's, I also get unrealistically optimistic. The only difference between me and this movie is that it actually did what it set out to do, and I, meanwhile, spent a lot of time sitting on the couch, playing Apex Legends, and eating chips. Hey, in my defense, I wear these extra 10 pounds well. My point is, everyone loves an underdog, and this movie was definitely that. And not to mention, I just gotta respect it for continuing that 80s tradition of needlessly setting horror movies to events. You got a birthday coming up? Horror can ruin that for you. Easter? Got you covered. Arbor Day? Don't know why, but yeah. And now there's finally a movie to ruin the idea of marriage for you, besides, you know, every single Hollywood movie to ever depict a heterosexual couple, except maybe The Addams Family.
Last night you were unhinged. You frightened me. Do it again.
But what exactly does a bad 80s slasher movie look like in 2021? Or, you know, 2020, considering they're basically the same year. The movie follows Bree, a young woman with an undisclosed mental illness and an unexplained trauma around the idea of marriage. Which is a real problem, considering that she's engaged. Seems like a really easy thing to avoid, but whatever. She's been trying to work through it with a therapist, played by Ginger Lynn Allen of Vice Academy fame.
You're busted. Get your hands up now.
But it doesn't take too long for us to figure out what's actually her problem. She's engaged to the bad boyfriend from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4.
Does this mean we can fuck now?
Oh my god, is that all you care about?
Yeah. I mean, come on, this is what your therapist should be telling you what to do. Go home and let your fiance beat.
Once, I kissed her once. What's wrong with that? Come on, it's like I can't even talk to my friends anymore. I can't believe how possessive you are.
You know this is part of your wifely duties, right?
I said I don't feel good
You
right
haven't
now.
felt good in over a month.
Look, guys need sex, okay? It's bad for you to get all worked up and then not get it. You can get prostate cancer.
Bree is starting to think that she might want to break up with the world's leading misogynist, but her friends talk her out of it because they have a really great bachelorette party planned, and there are gonna be male strippers.
This is her bachelorette party, and I'm gonna make sure she has a great time because that's my job.
Which is just really bad friendship, you know? Everyone knows that you don't ruin a girl's chance to hook up with strippers by canceling your wedding too early. You do it on the day, preferably after you've already set up the open bar for your guests. Bree agrees to play along, and everyone goes off to their creepy cabin in the woods for their co-ed bachelor/bachelorette party. I thought that the whole point behind this tradition was to separate from your partner, so that you low-key wondered for the rest of your life if they cheated on you that night. That's what I hear anyway. I think you probably need friends in order to throw a bachelorette party. Otherwise, it's just kind of sad and weird. So, yeah, I didn't do that. I wonder if the fact that Bree's boyfriend absolutely refuses to let her out of his sights even for something like this indicates something about their relationship. Like, maybe he's suspicious or controlling. Nah, something like that requires thought on the writer's part, and that just isn't possible in a movie as cheesy as this, right? Meanwhile, at the stripper's agency.
Are you serious? How am I supposed to run a business or ever get out of this garage if you're running off with your boyfriends all the time?
Please take that wig off. I either don't like the way he eats that maple bacon bar, or I really do. I haven't decided yet. Anyway, Bree's fiance discovers a list of reasons why she should end the relationship, written up by her therapist's request. And honestly, the fact that the list is only 1 page long is the only surprise here. This spurs an altercation that turns physical, and ends with Bree fleeing from the cabin into the surrounding woods. The goth girl is literally the only person that notices that the bride is missing.
She probably just needed some space, you know? She's been really stressed out.
Stressed out. She's doing it for attention.
You can't get cancer from not having sex.
Like you'd know. Never a date in your life, you're so ugly.
And although everyone makes it clear that they'd rather be doing literally anything else, they do get off their butts to find her. We cut briefly to Bree to see that she's... Okay, is this a subtle Evil Dead reference, or am I just a nerd? A nerd who's just desperately trying to make some sense out of this world. Okay, things are getting weird. Time to start the killing. Our murderers are these 2 masked men who are very clearly the fake Wi-Fi repairmen who showed up earlier to creep on Bree.
I think she should be with someone who would die for her. Like me.
Do they know each other? Anyway, they show up at exactly the point where all slasher villains show up. The douchebag and the sexy girl are about to get sexy in the woods. As much as this blood doesn't look realistic, it is definitely plentiful, and there's something to be said about that. The goth girl stumbles upon Bree in the woods, who is acting kind of odd and saying this.
I killed it, Naya.
Killed what? What are you talking about?
I'm free. I killed it, and I'm free.
Killed it? Is she talking about her friends? No, she hasn't moved from the spot, and all that she's really done is shove a stick up her... I guess that wasn't an Evil Dead reference, was it? Back at the cabin, Bree's therapist shows up to check on her, and she seems pretty comforted with what she finds.
I needed to get closer to nature. Sometimes it bites back. Okay?
She does not appear to be suicidal or under the influence of any type of drugs.
Really? She doesn't seem to be under the influence of drugs.
God, I can't sit down. I feel too alive.
At all.
Alexa, you better make sure those strippers show up.
I'm afraid I'm not used to strange men shaking their groins in my face.
Can't relate. We see Bree dealing with conflicting emotions, crumbling in the shower mere moments before blessing us with the greatest plot twist in history. Goth Girl and Bree are a couple. You know what immediately improves every movie ever? Say it with me, folks. queer women. Although I do have to admit that this makes me look again at Brie's relationship. Yeah, he is cheating on her, but she's also kind of cheating on him. But he did grab her by the wrist, and the dude's just generally an irredeemable dick.
Do you know how embarrassing it is to be with a girl who has a mental illness?
These two need to break up. No amount of strippers are worth it. But, I guess if the strippers are already ordered, it would be rude to not watch them. Well, hello there. Oh, is that it? Not to say that these two aren't nice to look at, it's just, you know, with all the build-up for male strippers, I really thought that we were gonna be getting a scene that would, you know, cater more to my pansexual needs, we'll say. But then again, maybe I should just be grateful that I don't have to watch this man give a lap dance. Grateful or sad, I really haven't decided yet. If you've seen literally any slasher movie, you've probably guessed that the arrival of our strippers also heralds the arrival of our slashers. And they began picking people off in splendifically gory ways.
Oh, great. What is this? You're supposed to be a cop, you fucking idiot.
He's dressed like Jason Myers.
You might think that my soul died a little bit at that, but the truth is that my soul's been dead for years. And surprise, surprise, our slashers are actually connected to the one character who has no right to be at this party right now.
These are my patients. They are also my boys.
The therapist lady goes on to explain that the only reason for this entire killing spree is that our slashers just need more practice talking to girls.
Girls reject boys and boys become violent. Why is it that girls just can't be more perceptive to a boy's inner beauty? Why do they always have to pick the jerks that they know are just gonna fuck around and cheat on them?
I don't really know if the nice guy argument works in the context of this film. If anything, we've seen that women are rejecting jerks for hot tattooed queer women, and I did not mean for that to explain me as much as it did. The therapist decides that the best way for our slashers to get over their fear of girls is for them to really put themselves out there. You know, really bare their souls.
Hello. My name is Dean, and I'm 39 years old. My ideal Saturday night includes cuddling on the couch, watching a great romantic comedy while sipping a cup of my own homemade hot cocoa.
Ladies, what do you think?
I think he'd be adorable if he wasn't a monster. Just look at that precious smile. The male stripper breaks in because the movie's really been lacking some sex appeal. At which point, everyone decides to start killing each other again.
I know you were pregnant, Brie. That's why you had pains in your stomach, and that's why you went to the woods, and that's why you had the killing things.
You care more about a make-believe fetus than your own adult sons. I was never pregnant, you crazy bitch!
What, so she just got really horny in the woods and it was the only thing around? And what did she kill?
I killed it, Dr. Petra. What was eating me, I killed it. And then I killed myself, but now I'm back and I feel so much better than I did this morning.
Herself? So the whole thing was actually just a really dark display of self-mutilation for the purpose of a metaphor. Huh. Pretty misleading metaphor there. Goth girlfriend gets shot in the gut. Beardy killer gets the axe. And then our remaining slasher stands by and allows Brie to kill his mother. For you see, Brie and fucking Jason here are both mere victims of a cruel therapist who warped their minds and forced them into this role of victim and aggressor, roles that they just never truly fit. Oh wait, never mind. The minute that Jason Myers discovers that Brie is in love with the goth girl, he decides to kill her. Of course, Brie gets away and chops up her fiance. Good riddance. Wait. Why is the movie continuing?
We've been through this over and over again.
Why is he here?
You have to remember your truth. It was that fake doctor. She told you were depressed and that you were crazy, and all the while trying to blame me for it.
He gaslighted her back into a relationship with him. Wow, this movie is a lot more unnerving than it has any right to be. On the one hand, this movie is heavy. It presents an extremely pessimistic view of gender, where sex and attraction eternally splits men and women. Proper communication is just impossible in this movie, because nobody is capable of seeing past their genitals. The healthiest, most supportive relationship in this movie is most definitely the sapphic couple. And all of that gets ruined by the men who just want to fuck or possess Bree. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this view of gender personally. I just feel that it encourages a lack of communication when communication is still completely possible between any two parties who are open to it. But I can definitely see how someone at some specific point in their life might feel this way. So it can't be a completely valueless theme to explore. And not to mention, the movie is just so cheesy that even if you wanted to take its views on gender seriously, you really can't. My biggest takeaway from this movie's heaviness was that it documents an abusive relationship in a way that feels sadly realistic. There's just something about the way that the fiancé is casually controlling, and the way that Bree's friends and caregivers consistently dismiss her silent pleas for help, that I just found extremely unnerving. And all of that would be fine if this movie just ended the way it was supposed to end. The abusive partner isn't supposed to get away with it. He's supposed to get chopped up to little bits, preferably in the most gory scene in the movie. That's how these things work. Honestly, there is a part of me that really wanted to do this review spoiler-free, because I do genuinely think that anyone who has the constitution to withstand bad acting probably should watch this movie. But at the same time, I would be doing this movie a disservice if I didn't at least mention the ending. Having our protagonists continue in this cycle of abuse, even when it has already cost them the lives of their friends, is just something so horrifying that I really don't expect it from a movie that's so clearly just made to make a quick buck. And honestly, there is something just charming about the cheapness of this movie. I don't know if that's just me. To be fair, I did grow up watching Bubba Hotep, and I genuinely think that Oblivion is better than any Star Wars movie.
Not man enough to face me. Or maybe you're too much man. Too much human.
But if you are a fan of that style of movie, I cannot recommend this highly enough. $69 worth of lap dances out of 10. Thank you so much for joining me here today, my pets, and I will see you next time. Love you.
Freeze! Assume the position. Like this.
Although donating to my Patreon is unnecessary, it is hugely appreciated. As little as $3 a month could help me put out many more videos. On that note, I'd like to thank Wilson L. Ricks III, Scott Falks, Andre K, and Thrill House. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. I can't wait to see you all next time.
I don't think he's a real cop.